We are live at the Fanuc show. It's my first day here, but it's been going since
Monday, Colin.
And I've been absolutely blown away by the technology. But let's go and clobber a couple of guys, see what we've found out. We've just had a presentation from
D at World Skills. Now we've had panel discussions and talks all morning.
Let's go and get these. They're skulking off.
Hello, sir. Would you mind answering a couple of questions? How did you enjoy the panel talk?
Yeah. So that's listening to the apprentice going forward to sort of for employment and then moving up the company. I thought that was good.
What company do you represent, please?
A company called Owen Mumford. We manufacture medical devices.
What's your name, please?
Lee Roberts.
Nice. So do you employ apprentices right now?
I think we're just about to search for one at the moment, I think.
Fantastic. In what role? What capacity?
I think that's engineer.
So
in industrialisation group, and it'll be sort of bringing like a young person through to full employment, I think.
Fantastic. So obviously these talks are all very, very applicable to what you guys are looking for right now.
Yeah, it's good, and there was a lot of information they gave as well about the training and what they can expect going forward.
Brilliant. So you're going to get them interested in the World Skills competition when you employ them, maybe?
Possibly, hopefully, yeah, it'd be good.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you. So we're going to go and try and find. Colin's found someone else.
Lady here now. Then, first of all, who are you and where are you from?
I'm Kaylee. I'm from Alico. We've got a few factories around the UK, and we collect food waste and put it into a big anaerobic digester, get biogas off that and run a generator, so we generate electricity.
Brilliant, that's exactly what we want at the moment because fuel prices going through the roof. Yeah. This is the World Skills talk. How have you found out? What's been interesting about it?
Well, I found out about it from Rockwell. I'm really interested in automation, that's what my job role is. And I'm particularly interested in apprenticeships today. All these speaks because I did an apprenticeship, and I really think that is the way that people need to be going. I think.
How did you find out about the apprenticeship, and what really made you think I've got to go engineering, I've got to go automation?
It was almost by accident, I suppose, because in school they don't really tell you about things like that as much as they maybe could. So it was almost more of an accident, and like my dad said, "Oh, you should apply for this," but it was the best thing that happened. So yeah.
Brilliant. So engineering, down, dirty, horrible.
No, fun, cool, glamorous.
There you go. That's absolutely fantastic. That's sold engineering to me. I might become an engineer myself. Now, thank you very much, guys. Dee from World Skills. It's a charity. We'll leave. She's already done some presents, but I'm going to put Rowan to the test. Now, as you might know, Rowan has joined us. How long have you been with us, Rowan?
I've been here about 4 weeks now. It's 4 weeks and 2 days.
Is it a baptism of fire?
It is. Yeah, from the frying pan into the fire, definitely.
Well, I'm going to put him. Thank you very much. I'm going to put his skills to the test because I saw his CV. It was extensive, shall we say? Not expensive,
no, not quite.
Extensive. So I'm going to put his skills to test. I'm going to find out about what he knows. So come through to this second room.
So there are two different sets of floors for the Fanuc open house. They couldn't fit all the exhibitors in just one, so they had to open out actually their big warehouse where they do a lot of their engineering work and a lot of their storage has been co-opted to almost half a big exhibition space in and of itself. Now it's a massive space already. As I said, we have over 50 exhibitors on show right now.
Well, what I want to do is I'm going to put you to the test. We've seen Colchester, great lathe, but what I want to do is the FlexiTend auto robotics system. Oh, here's a gentleman, Dan.
So we've got Dan from Auto Tech, and we do have Joe, but I think he's just gone. He
saw the camera and he saw lunch was calling.
He's sprinting out to lunch now. So Dan, can you explain what system you've got for us right here, please?
So this is what we call the FlexiTend. This is what we call the FlexiTend. It's a low-cost tending solution. That's
entry level. So if you want to dip your toe in the water, this is the route to go.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it's designed to go designed in conjunction with Fanuc to work with robo drills, but it can be used with any CNC lathe or anything like that.
So any machine shop, get one of these basically.
Yes, exactly.
And just to specify, the system is actually only this big.
Yes.
This cage here and this little plate is actually mimicking what a robodrill would be.
Yes.
This is kind of the machine bed for the robodrill. So actually, if you think you need a robot, and you need some kind of automation, but you think, it's going to take up loads of space, actually, this cage is really quite small, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it doesn't take much of your floor space. And obviously the robodrill is already quite a compact machine. So it's a good little system. They're a good pairing, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And we've designed it so there are lots of options that you can switch around with it. So say this has a sort of breadboard loading system, so you set pegs on the loading board and then you can customize that to different parts so you can load it in that way. Another option that we have is you can actually have loading plates. So if you want a quick changeover where you don't have to individually load all of the parts while the robot's idle, you can just have a changeover plate, so you pull the plate out and put another plate in.
And quick change obviously helps with slightly lower volume parts that SMEs might be encountering.
Yes, exactly.
So you've got full pallet system, you can stack it up, all sorts of different... It's a modular system as well?
Yes, yep, so you can... lots of different gripper designs that you can go with for it. One thing that we have found is that sometimes customers want something a little bit more bespoke, so that's something that we can do as well. If you want to change from having a sort of loading tray, we can switch that over and have something that's more like a conveyor system, so you just put parts in and it's just constantly fed.
Simple as that. I mean, dip your toe in the water, I think a lot of machine shops in the UK reticent about automation, shall we say? Or I shouldn't say that when we're in the Fanuc showroom, but this would be a great first step.
Simple, versatile, modular, definitely a good system to adopt as your first dipping your toe into automation.
Yeah,
thank you very much, Dan.
Dan, absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to put him under some pressure.
So if you're interested in getting into automation, if you've got a robodrill already and you're looking to take a robot on it, get in touch with Autotech.
Now,
hello.
this I'm hoping is Francesco.
No, this is Victor. Hello, Victor.
I do apologise.
How are you doing, Victor?
Very well. Good day so far.
Brilliant.
We've come to find out about your system. What is it? What's going on here? And what's going on the TV screen?
Sure. So the core of it is a vision system that's in front of the robot that's able to identify every single item in waste, which is a really difficult vision problem because it's commingled, it's dirty, there's dust,
Wow.
not a great environment.
Key at the moment, it's COP26, isn't it? All the
Key moment indeed.
Absolutely.
And then we combine it with a Fanuc system, and we've been working with Fanuc for the past 18 months now.
Now the vision system, is it on the Delta, or is it separate, just outside?
It's right in front of the Delta. Yeah.
How accurate is this in terms of I throw my cans in there, or I throw my
It'll
paper in there?
detect all of your cans and all your plastics, PET bottles. We're even doing stuff that was never done before.
Wow.
So for example, the difference between, if you take an HDPE, which is a type of plastics, difference between your milk bottles versus your shampoo ones, which actually makes a big difference, because if they're mixed, today they only sell for £200. If you can sort them out, you can sell them for £1,000. Just because of a vision system and a robot that allows you to...
How was it actually developed, though, Hug?
That was a collaboration between Recycli. Our expertise in software. We're a 2-year-old company, but we're already 25 people now. Wow. Really focusing on developing the eye that's able to identify every single item. Okay. And then with Fanuc, essentially merging their many, many years of robotic expertise.
Okay, now you've got the Delta here. There's a different system on the screen now.
Correct.
Why is it different?
So they both have their advantages and limitations. A Delta is typically a lot heavier. So when it comes to installing in existing facilities, there can be challenges. For new facilities, it's easier. But then the 6-axis is a lot lighter and has a lot more sort of maneuverability. Instead of sort of having to pick and place an item like most manufacturing applications, we can actually pick and shoot items because it's waste. So you couldn't do that with an iPhone, but with the PET bottle, you don't really care.
So, sorry, could you give us a little bit of a background to Recycli? I know we normally have quite a lot of mature companies here. I've not seen one that's 3 years old. Can you just give us a quick intro to how you guys started?
Yeah. Sure. We're 2 years old. Not yet. We've just had our second-year anniversary. My background is a PhD in computer vision, specifically for waste management. And then we essentially got a lot of support initially from Microsoft. So we still have offices based in offices they're sort of given us. We've then got a bit of Innovate UK support, but then very quickly tons of commercial traction from clients like BIFA, FCC, big waste management facilities that probably sort out your household waste.
That's great. So you're not just relying on grants. This is a profitable company right now.
We're not yet profitable.
That's controversial.
We are relying on venture capital funding. Hopefully, I don't plan on being profitable for the next few years because every single penny we have, I want to reinvest to just grow into putting it back in the business.
UK based or global?
UK based,
okay.
But we already have installs in Northern Ireland, in England, in France, and we've just done our first in Italy last week.
So you're expanding into Europe and hopefully the world?
Hopefully the world very soon, yes. Exactly. But currently our market is very much European. We're eyeing the US market as well, and we'll probably enter.
Fantastic.
Great new application for Fanuc hardware and control technology, and also interesting software technology from proprietary system. Thank you very much, Victor. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Right, now, I haven't really put you to the test yet, Rowan.
No, not yet.
The gentleman talking here, now, this is Jerry, I think, from memory, but Shunk, grippers, work-holding solutions, I'm going to go down this, and I'm going to ask you about these things, because I think he thinks he knows. What's going on with this?
So Jerry, as you just mentioned, is over there. He's just behind the camera right now. Jerry explained that this is actually, he described this as a lean automation system. So if you're not quite ready, if you don't think you're quite ready for a robot yet, then you can probably use one of these grippers inside your machine tool. So if you see it's got a BT40 back end, this is just a hydraulic chuck holding what is a coolant-activated gripper system. So these are modular jaws that you can machine yourself. And if you put this inside your machine tool, you can actually take parts out of vices and put them in other vices. You can turn parts over using some kind of turning setup.
Is it pneumatic, hydraulic?
So this is hydraulics. This uses coolant, actually. So
right, through spindle coolant.
Obviously, yeah. So obviously it depends on your coolant pressure, how much gripping force you get from it. But this seems like quite an innovative system, and I'm not sure many people know this kind of thing exists.
Yeah. So this, again, we mentioned earlier, dipping your toes into automation. So this takes place of a tool, soft jaws. You can make jaws for different components.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, if you don't want to make the big investment into robots straight away, so let's say you've got the RoboDrill, you're not quite ready for that entry-level cage system, you could buy one of these gripper systems, and you could start moving parts around your machine bed without having any robots required. You can just move your spindle down, turn the coolant on, pick up your part, come back down. But what you do
there's
need,
a big but, okay.
with this system, obviously you need a way to actuate your vise, okay?
Right.
So Shop also do systems that can actuate your vise. So if you have a rotary table, you can put a rotary joint on it. If you have a standard vise here with 2 airlines, you can turn the airline on and off.
Got
if I
it.
flick a switch there, then hopefully, if I flick a switch there, vise opens, gripper's grip, spindle comes up, moves the part round, and then takes your part up. You may say you've machined the first part of your part on this
yep.
The kind of serrated edges on this vise. You then flip it over for up 2 into shrunk. Do this. This is like a mandrel 0-point system. Now
I'd say more like a diaphragm.
It's an interesting system, isn't it? Now this is not air driven. This is actually, well, the 0-point system is air driven, but the 0-point actuation, when the pin gets pulled down, that pulls these teeth together and means you can have extreme gripping force. On
Go on, and I'm going to test you on that. We'll make it.
Exactly.
Let's see your extreme gripping force, Ryan.
And then I try and pull this thing off. There's absolutely no chance.
Let me just check that though, because I'm not sure about the.
You've got bigger muscles than me, haven't you?
But if you take that out, if you take the component out, this is a 0-point system, he says as well. Yep.
So you can swap this out with a chuck. You can swap this out with a vise. Really versatile system. So if you imagine you've got spindle grippers, you've got a couple of 0 points. You can do up 1, up 2, and turn them around. And you can automate that without a robot.
Music's my ears. Well, you do want a robot arm, of course, but it's also got locating pin there, so sure.
So you've got good repeatability. Put this in here. Actuate.
Let's just test that again. Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Right, that's shrunk. Jerry's managed to get out that, but thank you very much for prepping us earlier,
Thank you, Jerry.
Really, really appreciate it. Now, Kearns, I'm thinking it's metrology, really, but am I right? Oh, I'm probably wrong, as is usual.
Well, actually, yeah. So Kearns, I was talking to Tom earlier, I think, from
brutal
Kearns.
there.
Yeah, a little bit. Kearns do, so these are sensors that see when someone's near a certain robot cage. So normally robots have to be completely caged in, which obviously takes time and effort, and engineering time is designing, manufacturing the cages. Instead, if you put one of these systems in, you don't have to cage up the robot. It senses when someone's there. It'll slow down the robot when they're within, say, 2 meters, for example, and then it'll stop when someone's even closer. Right. And that means you don't need a cage system. You just need to incorporate one of these into your Fanuc robotic automation system. Means you can also fit it in probably a tighter space in your workshop without having to have all the big, bulky cage systems.
Well, as we know, machine shops, always, every single engineer we ever see, they move into a new facility, and within about a year and a half, they've run out of room. In fact, let's just clarify, we're talking, I mistakenly said about CMMs, etc. Look at that in terms of the amount of products, and no, we won't bore you by going through that whole catalogue, but a gentleman from Kearns will do that for you. And look, I just want to hasten to add that there is actually a decent cameraman here, but it's not. Oh, there you go, Chris. We get Chris on the screen. He's always wanted to be on the screen. Right, come on, I'm going to drag you away, Rowan. What's next?
Shall we talk about CyberWeld cobots?
That seems like a very opportune time. So
yeah, we could do so.
I'm making an assumption. This is all about welding.
Yep.
Hit me with it.
Exactly. So I don't know much about welding, unfortunately.
Okay.
My background's in machining. I wouldn't know a good weld from a bad weld. But this is a cobot from Fanuc, the new cobot system, with a CyberWeld front end. Now the front end, the interesting part about this cobot is it has these handles and this dead man switch. So the dead man switch, when you activate it, I don't know if I can do it now. I've not actually talked to the guy. When you activate it, it stops the robot, and it means you can hopefully, oh, I can't move it now, but if it's in the correct mode, you can press the dead man switch, you can move the cobot, and you can use these A and B buttons to teach different points to the robot.
So I could weld along here, and teach it. So I'm not talking big batch runs potentially. I could do 5 off, 10 off, and still be cost effective.
Exactly. So there's not many SMEs that will have, I don't know, 100 off, 1,000 off of the same welding part. They might have 5 offs, they might have 1 offs. If they're doing that, if they've got a big part that they want to automate that, walk away from it, this makes much more sense than in a proper industrial robot.
Absolutely.
So there's definitely some applications for these cobot systems, and this is one of them.
Now, in terms of welding, we're not experts on that side of things, but in terms of the quality of the weld and things like that, is there any
I guess you've got consistency, you've got quality, because obviously I remember one time I had to go with a welding simulator. I was absolutely awful, because you've got to keep you the same distance from the weld at all times, I guess.
Yes.
And with these cobot systems, their repeatability means you can keep that distance away.
Rowan, you weren't with us at the time. I will refer you to mine and Paul's video at Steel Fab last year, I think, where we were doing practice welding. I scored 96%. Paul scored 22%. It was absolutely rubbish, but that's on our...
I think I probably got about 22%.
There you go. So next one, are you going to stay in touch, Rowan? And
we are, exactly.
So away. What is this?
Hello, sorry, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I'm Nathan from In Touch Monitoring.
So what do In Touch Monitoring do? What are you guys selling?
So we take a simple signal from any machine, and with that signal we can put it on a nice live dashboard, and from that you can see whether the machines are running, if they're down, why they're down, if they're producing scrap, or if they're conducting a tool change. So it's that real-time information that we're collecting from the machines.
So here we're seeing lots of different lathes. Are these sliding head lathes or injection molding machines? Or
injection molding machines in this instance. We can monitor any process really, CNC, extrusion, injection molding machines.
So green means they're running, red means they're not running. What does yellow mean?
So yeah, green's running, red means it's stopped, but we don't know why it's stopped. So the operator would interact with the system and put in a reason for the stoppage.
Blue and grey.
Blue is tool change.
Right.
Grey is it's stopped, but for a planned reason. So we expect the machine to be stopped, i.e. we haven't got any work for that machine at the moment.
So this helps people to understand what's happening on their machine shop in real time?
Yep, so yeah, ultimately customers get great visibility of the shop floor, but also the data we're collecting can be used to build reports, KPI reports, OEE reports, and that data is very useful.
Is this, I'm investing in this software, is it easy? I've got a machine shop with 15 machines, say. I've got some lights, some fixed heads, some sliders, a mill I've got a whole conundrum, shall we say.
Yeah, so we can connect to the machines via either OPC UA, or we can take an actual signal from the machine, which means any machine, regardless of its age, can be connected up.
What kind of signal? Digital, analog, what are we talking?
Digital signal, 24 volts every time something happens.
So like a switch, like an M code that you have on old machines, for example?
Usually out of a contact-free relay, so volt-free contact.
So you don't need a new machine to start a bracing industry for, you just need some solenoids, some relay switch?
Nice,
exactly that, yeah, exactly that.
You're making it sound very simple, but you're the one to do it. Machine shop need to get in contact. Now, the next one it's about MRP, ERP systems. Now, I'm thinking Fanuc, I'm thinking robot arms, robo drills, but this is specifically for, and I'm going to clobber this gentleman here, Andrew.
Hello.
It is all about plastic injection molding. I'll come around here. Plastic injection molding, what do you do?
Essentially, ERP software which manages sales orders through to delivery notes and manages all the movement of information within the factory. More efficiently, I might add as well.
But there's loads of these systems out there.
Yes.
What is this? This is aimed specifically at?
Typically, discrete manufacturing, injection molding, die casting, metal stamping, anything where there's a sort of a mention of tooling, mention of cycle times.
So machining as well. It's not just die stamping, it's machining as well.
For the machining
that's
industry
a big,
as well.
big industry.
Absolutely. To be honest, if you want a little bit more detail, I'm going to bring in my more trusty cohort.
So
here,
this is Mark. Shall we go on to me then?
Hello,
Mark. How are you doing? So could you please explain the
pressure?
Spitfire? What would you say the main selling point of Spitfire software is, please?
The fact that it's developed from within the industry. So my background is injection molding. I developed this with the team of developers for our industry. So it talks the language of the plastics industry.
So it solves problems that you yourself had while you were in industry.
All the pain I went through is in this software now. So I've kind of taken that pain away from everyone else.
So what are the pain points?
Oh, if you know moulding, you know what the pain points are.
I don't know moulding, I'm afraid. Spell it out, please.
Materials, where the materials are, planning the production, the job cards, the traceability, everything that's involved in moulding, this kind of
what about
has it encompassed.
The mix of the plastics, or is that more down to the machine itself? in terms of the plastics going through the system?
Yeah, that's down to the machines themselves,
Okay,
but this locates the plastics within the factory, so you can't lose a thing. It's all warehouse management. So yeah, it does everything from when you get the order coming from the customers through to the job cards, through to labels, through to exporting to an accounts package.
And the most interesting bit, well, not the most interesting, the best bit, invoicing as well? Getting your money
exports to invoicing.
Brilliant.
Of course, what goes in at the front comes out the back, so the invoicing's always right.
If I'm honest, Mark, it sounds like these invoicing, job cards, quoting, it doesn't sound like it applies to just moulding. It sounds like it applies to pretty much any engineering process, any engineering business.
It does. I mean, this software will do it, but our background is injection moulding, so that's kind of where we're encompassing it. But
that's where you're focusing on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rowan,
but you're going to be expanding out?
I'm going to drag you away because we've got lots
if
to
you need
do.
ERP,
Lots to do. There's lots of people.
Sales, quoting, invoicing, get hold of Spitfire software. Get in touch with Mark or Andrew.
I'm going to have to drag.
Thank you very much, guys.
We've got limited time, and Ryan's getting right into this. He's trying to prove it.
Yeah, you're going to put your finger on the line.
Well, I'm trusting Rowan now. I think we lost you there for a second on the live feed. Now, Rowan has assured me that I will not lose a digit if I put my finger in there.
Oh, there we go. He's all right.
I'll tell you what, you couldn't get that on camera, but there was a low humming there because I was actually quite...
Yeah, you're a little bit worried there, weren't you? A single tear fell from his cheek. But anyway, so what do we have here? We have, is it Andrew from Zimmer, Richard from Zimmer, and Andy from Schmaltz. So, guys, could you please explain what this system is? First, start with Andy, please.
Yeah, hi, Andy Foreman from Schmaltz UK. So this system is a collaboration between Schmaltz UK and Zimmer, and it's a collaboration that allows the tooling from two different companies to be exchanged automatically on a single robot system.
Can I very rudely just interrupt you because I haven't broken this machine. I'm going to get it going. How's this? He says.
He just likes showing off, doesn't he, Andy?
Ready?
He's better than me, so
that's
great.
Well and highly trained engineer. I can't even press two buttons. Pressure's off.
Sorry, I showed you how to do that.
Yeah,
back to you, Andy.
The idea is that all applications aren't the same within industry. Some applications require a vacuum generator system to grip products and handle them, move them around.
Which is what Schmaltz will offer.
It's primarily a Schmaltz product, yes. But on occasions, those sorts of applications just don't suit. Where the application now changes to a mechanical gripper, the expertise of Zimmer then comes into the frame.
Brilliant. And speaking about Zimmer, Richard, could you give us a quick demo as to how the match system works, please?
So the match system can be operated. So the match system can be operated by hand by just pressing together the two buttons there just to do the quick connect. So that's one way you can load it all onto the robot. With the same mechanism, you can manipulate those buttons using the docking station. So when they slot together, the part comes loose, enabling you to do an auto change. And that's what we've got here on display.
So what are the advantages of this system over mechanically actuated, sorry, this is mechanically actuated, pneumatically actuated, electronically actuated? What are the advantages?
Well, the main advantage would be if you've got an electric gripper, for example, you don't have to put a pneumatic tool changer on, so you'd have to run an airline in specifically to be able to do the change. With this mechanism, you can do that purely mechanically. So
I like that. Yeah, it's a really smart little system. I love that. So it's just two buttons.
So any limit to number of tools? I presume not, because it's cobot.
No, you can put as many tools as you want on there. Here we've got two on display. This platform here is Digital I/O. You can get I think it's 4 electric grippers which we're doing. Schmaltz have got, I think it's the same amount of vacuum grippers. We also do it on I/O Link, and then you get access to our full range, which is around 10 different end effectors.
Right, I'm going to have to stop you there. Thank you very much. It's been great insight and put in touch. Thank you very much, gentlemen. But we've got another hall to look at now. Let's sort of go over a few things.
Can we just have a quick talk about Renishaw? So they've got an equator comparative system here.
I'm
reliably informed that there is a webinar happening on the 9th and the 11th of this month.
Okay.
That correct, please? It's James, right?
Hi, correct.
Yeah, so you've got a webinar on the equator system.
No pressure, you've got 2 minutes to tell us about the webinar and about
What is this equator system? When's your webinar?
Problem. So it's the equator system is a smart gauging system. It's there to help you with your process control and validation of your components. It works on a master principle, and it can be automated. It's a great system when it is automated.
So robot arm out of the machine onto the and into another machine or back into the machine.
Yeah, either or. It can go back into another machine or for a subsequent operation, or it can be then validated at that point and say, you know, it's good, it's great. Measuring components is such an important part of automation. You know, automation can give you the ability to make scrap at an unprecedented rate. So, you know, use your metrology tools wisely and get them up and going. If you want to know more about the equator, we've got a webinar on next week. 9th and the 11th of November.
How do they find out about it?
Get onto the website, and there's an area of the website where you can sign up to the webinars, and hopefully we'll see you there.
You certainly will. Now, I'm going to have to rush you, so well. Thank you for that. Really, really appreciate it. So, Renishaw, get onto their webinar on their website. Now, I'm going to if I can use the word praise, Rowan's, how he's performed so far on that first bit of the first job with Rowan. Well, what do you think, Rowan?
I think it went all right. I mean, my knowledge of robots and robot grippers is pretty minimal. My knowledge of welding is absolutely non-existent. So
let me get the door.
Hopefully, I fumbled through that okay, Colin. Are you impressed? Are you happy?
Impressed. I'm impressed. I'm not going to use that word. It's really, really good, Rowan. And as you know, engineering wasn't my trade. Yours was. Learning every day, and you come here and you're learning so many different things.
What have you learned about today, Colin?
I've learned that I'm happy to work with you again, Rowan.
Oh, fantastic. That's good news.
That? Now, having done that...
I don't think you've got a choice, I'm afraid.
So it's all about automation, and even things like the CMM can be a roadblock in some machine shops. They're taking the pain out of that. Now, what we're going to do is Paul is now going to put Rowan even more to the test. So
that's it. He's putting me through my paces.
I know. I'm just checking the time.
Paul anywhere?
He's probably. I think he's going to be
at lunch right now, isn't he?
He's probably in the lunchroom now.
No,
Paul.
Here he is.
He's on his second portion. No, here he is. So over to Paul Jones. Paul, I put him to the test. He's under a lot of pressure. Make him work for his money.
Did he succeed? Did he sound knowledgeable?
No, he's not a budgie. He did not succeed.
Thank you very much, Colin. Yeah. Enjoyed that through that other exhibition hall.
Yeah, that's the first time I've actually seen it in full. Actually,
did you see the recycling product?
I did see the Recycle Eye, Victor. Yeah, I talked to the CEO, Victor.
Okay, so at 3:00 this afternoon, we're going to be talking to Oliver from Fanuc, who's going to give us more detail about the integration of that solution with Victor. So let's go this way.
Brilliant.
Now I'm going to start a product we did look at yesterday, and if you didn't or you weren't on yesterday's stream, then we're going to start over here with this washing machine. Now, I've spoken about this 2 or 3 times now, but what this shows is the diversity of the applications that are being shown here. You know what it's doing, Rowan?
I don't, I'm afraid, actually. I've got absolutely no idea.
So basically, what we're doing here is this cobot is working its way around the outside of the door, the edge of the door, and it's also, it's basically measuring that gap between the door and the body of the washing machine.
To make sure it's assembled correctly.
To make sure that it's within tolerance. So it's like I suppose, a measurement metrology solution here. But what happens is that feeds back to the production line if there's an inaccuracy. And then when the next washing machine's being built, let's say this was a real-life application, it will make sure that the next door is in the correct place because the offsets will change.
Fair enough. A bit like we were looking at Renishaw Equator comparator. That does a similar thing for smaller components, but if you've got a massive component like a washing machine, you can't put that on a smaller kind of comparator CMM.
Exactly. Let's go this way. Back. I know it's zigzagging, but this is a robo drill, 5-axis robo drill. What I really like about this, and I'm sure you'll concur, Rowan, is that the bed on this machine is much bigger than what you would expect on a lot of BBT30 machines. So it just shows that when you buy a BT40 machine, potentially you're looking for that meter in the x-axis, a slightly bigger y-axis. This robo drill can accommodate those larger parts as well with the BBT30 strategy, being able to machine harder materials too.
And there's nothing wrong with the BBT. I've cut a lot of hard materials on a BBT.
I remember you in your past life actually talking to you at Nikon where you were operating one of these machines. What's your experience of it?
So we had actually this is a Fanuc robo drill large type. We were using a medium type, but we still had the Nikon DD table. This is a DD, I think 200. Correct me if I'm wrong. This DD table. Now these rotary tables work really well with the robo drill because this is lightning fast. This robo drill.
What does the DD mean? Is that direct drive?
So DD means direct drive. Now rather than having a worm wheel and screw, this direct drive means that you have an electric motor that directly drives each axis of the rotary table. Now that is. Comes with increased speed. It comes with slightly reduced torque, but that speed gain is
if you're doing impellers and things like that, I've seen it.
It's a perfect combination of the robo drill and the DD table. Definitely.
Have you used the robo drill? Have you got a BBT30 machine? We're always interested to hear about how those machines are performing these days. Comment on the channel now wherever you're watching this. I like your what's your terminology you use for this system? This automation system.
So this tender machine. So this is built by Robopod in collaboration with Fanuc. This is what they call their iTend. And this is a slightly different to what Robopod normally do because they do kind of bespoke systems for assembly, for automotive, for SMEs. This is actually an off-the-shelf solution that they offer for each robo drill. So if you have a robo drill, large, medium, small type, you can roll one of these up side by side with it, and it will as long as your robo drill has an automated door, then this is actually an off-the-shelf solution, which you don't normally get that in automation systems. We've got a tray system here, so you can load up, I don't know, we've probably got about 5 or 6 trays here with, I don't know, about 25 parts each. That's a lot of parts that you could automate here. It's a long cycle time.
The attraction to me here is not just the unmanned run, but it's the size. Look at the footprint. You know, the robo drill in itself is a small machine, but you're using height rather than width, aren't you?
You've got a great combination of these, the compact i10 and the compact robo drill, because normally with automation solution you might have a big cage to stop the robot from stop people getting to the robot. So actually this enclosed off-the-shelf solution I think is probably quite a good fit.
Available, of course, from Fanuc as an integrated solution. Cyber weld, I looked at this as well. I'm always fascinated by welding. Never get too heavily involved in welding. In fact, I was taking the mickey out of Joe yesterday about his experiences with welding. Have you ever done much of it?
I've never done it, no. I had to go with a simulator. Colin talked about you getting 22%
oh, that's
in a simulator.
right.
I got about the same. So.
You could only get to 25, so I was only 3%.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's not too bad then. But yeah, my welding experience is very limited, but I can imagine how this would improve your welding quality and your welding consistency. Definitely over my personal welds anyway.
I always think with welding, it's very hard for a human to get to replicate and repeat edge, preparations or whatever the terminology is. But a robot can obviously do that probably far better and far more reliably.
There's a lot of skill involved, even trying to keep the same distance away when you're going around this big 90-degree corner. So I can imagine how taking a robot to this really de-skills the process. It means you get better consistency.
Yeah, get a reliable product. And if you're a consumer buying it or a customer buying it, you want obviously the best product. A weld is there to fix edges together. RoboShop, what do you know about injection moulding?
Absolutely nothing, I'm afraid. I know a little bit maybe about the moulds that you put inside an injection moulder, but this is probably the first time I've seen one of these machines.
Okay, so I was at Fakuma with Colin, actually for Fanuc in Germany, one of the biggest injection moulding and plastics exhibitions, and they were showcasing their 4 or 5 RoboShop machines. This is a 100-ton machine. And one of the points I would always make about Fanuc is the fact that this is an electric machine, very, very economical, very, very reliable. Their Internet of Things technology, their control systems, their touchscreen controls, controlling the temperature of the pellets that's coming through. It really is, something else, the RoboShop
And also,
technology.
it's a good point to make. I remember Tanzawa-san on Tuesday morning, he was giving a talk about general Fanuc's outlook, and he mentioned specifically the electric drives in the RoboShop.
It's so important, and so many manufacturers are producing hydraulic machines which are nowhere near as green as what you can see here. That also gives you much better accuracy as well on parts. So EDM Robo Cut. Let's not forget this. This is a technology that Fanuc are what I would class as leaders in this area. When it comes to the collaboration between a RoboCut and a RoboShop, this is integral in the injection moulding process because, of course, you're making the tools. So if you have an injection moulding machine and you have tooling that's needed to be produced, you can do that using an EDM
Also,
solution.
is this what would be kind of the intermediate blocks in between the front face and the back face of the mould? You'd then have, fair enough.
Absolutely. So, you can see here you're cutting out small inserts and so forth, but these machines have auto wire threading, extremely repeatable.
And I think these can also, I've found out recently that actually these can, when they have a wire breakage, they can rethread themselves.
Exactly.
I had absolutely no idea.
They also have this core stitch function, which basically means you can create, one of the big worst things when you're cutting out a piece of metal is if it falls away. And if it falls away, it can damage the part and damage the machine. So they have this core stitch function, which leaves little stitches around the edges of the part.
And you just knock it out
at the end. Technology that, of course, Fanuc are heavily involved in. And here is the sort of applications that you look at for wire EDM machines.
Super precise, hard metals.
Exactly. Here's another method of automation, the Halter system. Perhaps we could get this gentleman on camera.
So we've got Rick from Halter. Hello, Rick. How are you doing? So what system have you got here for us, please?
We have a Halter Universal 20, so that's with a grid plate, two-sided grid plate actually, with an A and a B side, which has a big advantage for the operator because he can open the door at the loading area and start unloading finished parts and set up his new batch for the next 4 or 5 hours whenever the system is ready.
And this is a one-piece system, am I correct?
Exactly, yes.
So you can roll this up to a machine tool, and does this locate in the floor?
Yeah, well, you can see that at the bottom you can see the yellow anchor points. So it's conical, so it centers itself when you move it from one machine to another.
So it's a versatile system. You can change over these laser plates as well to different part types?
Yeah, correct. They're all, let's say, in the library of the software. So you just tip the exact grip plate you mounted on. So the algorithm of the software knows where he has to grip the parts.
Rick, I was going to ask you, there's so many different automation solutions around here. How do you go about beginning to select which is right for you?
We always
move the mic a bit closer, right?
Sure. We always start off to study first the workpieces of our clients, and of course their CNC machines. So that's really our point of departure. Then we check their cycle times. We can calculate directly within minutes the autonomous runtime. And with the investment, also the ROI has been calculated within 20 minutes. Yep.
Okay, now the integration as well, when you look at attaching a system like this to a machine, you've got to be confident that the machine you're putting it on is going to be as strong as your system. And I suppose when someone rings up and says, I want one of these to put it on a Fanuc machine, do you always go, that's great, because I know it's going to give them a very productive solution?
For any machine, really. We make a handshake via our interface box, so it's an extra additional PLC which we will mount and prepare together with the CNC machine. So this interface box will always stay with the CNC machine. So if you drive it away and you're coming back again, it's just with a hard-inch plug, it's just plug and play again.
I suppose the point I'm making is the connection between the drives, the fact you've got Fanuc controls, Fanuc drives, all of that, the Fanuc robot, it's a seamless partnership almost, isn't it?
In that sense, it is a seamless partnership, you're right.
Good stuff. Rick, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
I love that. At FlexWeld, let's just have a quick look at Flex. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh, that looks too nice.
Welding is quite a hot topic here. There's 4 or 5 partners. If you're going to come here over the next coming couple of days, you'll be able to see automating the welding process. This is quite interesting because this doesn't just laser weld, it laser cuts and it laser marks and it laser etches as well. So all of those all of those methods of manufacture are normally done by differing machines. But here
so that would really increase your cycle time, because you're not just talking about the cycle times of each machine. You talk about the change. You talk about the changeover times as well,
exactly.
Which could be days, could be hours, depending on what your operators are doing. So
you imagine having to take apart, go and cut it, then etch it, weld it. You can do it all here using this Flex Lathe product from Science.
And this is also a really good example of how the Fanuc robots are actually, they're unbelievably versatile in that the important part of the robot is actually what's on the end of it, and you can put anything on that. So we've got a robot enclosed with some laser welding systems on it. We've got a robot with some 2 robot grippers. We've got vacuum suction. These robots are so unbelievably versatile. You've got hundreds of different applications, even just amongst 50
And let's have
exhibitors.
another look at this one. I saw this at EMO when we were there a few weeks ago. The cleverness and the intelligence of these things is what really is exciting as well. How advanced they're becoming in the fact that they can spot where parts and products are without necessarily having to be put in a specific place, if you see what I mean. The vision element has changed robots from just being
these very static and very formal parts, machines that if something goes in the wrong place, doesn't quite sit down correctly, it just stops the whole process.
Exactly.
These make them so much more flexible.
And I also think here this would have had to have been done maybe by operators before taking things off production and packing lines. And if they were using robots, they would have had to have made sure that they were in exactly the right place. But of course, that's not the case now.
Exactly, and obviously this takes all what you might call kind of the boring jobs away from people, meaning they can do slightly more interesting things. They can upskill themselves. So there's kind of like a twofold advantage to this, in that you're not paying your labourers to do work like this. Instead, you can get them to upskill.
And that is a very common theme this week, is about the upskilling element. And I think everyone has to take a responsibility in that. It's not right for people to say automation is going to get rid of jobs, because it's not. But you have to be prepared to work with it and upskill yourself at the same time. Upskilling doesn't just come from someone going, there you go, you're upskilled. Because if it did, you'd be very skillful. I'd be able to do that like that.
Yeah.
I look at this. This is like you being down the pub on a Friday night, isn't it, Rowan, with these snooker balls here?
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, you probably know more about that than me, but yeah. So this is actually, I've seen a few videos from a long time ago where there are these tiny little robots moving, like I'm talking like little robots about this big, moving on electromagnetic rails like this. And I've never thought I'd see anything like this in the flesh, especially with this kind of scale, because this could be moving. So we were talking about tools. This could be moving not just parts but tool holders. So this could be some kind of gantry system that is completely universal, and these things get sent round.
Is it the same route, or are they changing routes?
So if we have a quick look at the screen here, I think Josh from Josh might explain the system. Actually, Josh, do you want to come and explain the system to us, please? Josh, if you come around here, just lean over the rail,
Come
please.
over this way, Josh.
Bro, so could you introduce yourself, please?
I'm Josh Henry. I'm one of the technology consultants from Rockwell Automation.
Brilliant. Can you explain what the system is doing right now?
Oh, yeah. So this is a magnet mover light system, and ultimately what it is a modern day take on conveyor systems. So you can merge and diverge, and you can make it go all over your factory, for example, and you can do various processes on it, and robotic cells and so on, and you can just transfer it from one to another.
So one of the main advantages from this, if I'm correct, is a standard conveyor belt moves at one speed.
Exactly.
And it moves, basically, that means your whole assembly line is limited to the slowest process in that assembly line.
Correct.
Because this is variable, actually, you're no longer limited to that one slow process.
Exactly. So, if something takes a bit longer, you can just diverge it off and add extra, cells for that. So you're ultimately getting the same throughput at the end. So you can do whatever you want. You can make it go slower, faster between stations and so on.
I've just got one question for you on this before we move on. Is there any area of life where this wouldn't fit? Rockwell Automation, machine tools are for a metal cutting industry, okay? But RoboShop machines are for injection molding industry. But where won't this work? And where won't this fit?
Oh gosh, because it has this one which goes up to 10 kilos, and there's two bigger brothers, one which goes to 100 kilos and one that goes to 5 tons. You can pretty much cover majority of the industries, really. That goes from cars all the way down to little needles and stuff like that. So it's really, I'll be struggling to think which one it doesn't.
5 tons.
Each carriage weighs 5 tons. It takes 5 tons.
So there's a much bigger brother of this
I assume
one.
they're a little bit bigger than these carriage
A little
sizes,
bit bigger, yeah. Those don't like to move out.
Are you bringing
cars.
that in 2 years from now then, for the next open house?
We'll see.
Might need to put that outside.
Thank you very much, Josh. We're going to have to wrap this one up. If you do come here over the next couple of days, you'll be able to come here and check out the virtual reality as well that's happening here. You'll be able to put this headset on and take a complete tour of Fanuc's facility here in the showroom. This really is where the future's moving, isn't it? We've seen automation here this week, automation that I've not seen before, working on in industries and on applications that I've not even envisaged it could be part of. And just after 2:45 this afternoon, I'll be with Oliver Selby from Fanuc, and we'll be looking at the partnership between the recycling manufacturer here, where the robot is picking up, and you've just seen it, picking up bits of rubbish and being able to identify what they are and where to put them. That'll happen at 3. We've got more panel discussions and speakers coming after lunch as well, so stay tuned. But that's it for this live stream, and of course keep your comments and questions coming in. We are streaming live here all day today and all day tomorrow as well, but you can of course come here if you're not watching the stream. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much, Rowan.
Thank you very much, Paul.